talk some about the game. The game very much kind of a microcosm of the season. They did some things that would make you think, oh, this team might be good. And then they did a series of things that are like, this doesn't resemble any Belichick coach team I've ever seen in my life before. You see good things from Mac. You see bad things from Mac. You see good play calls. You see some really puzzling shit as well. And therein is the Patriots season in a nutshell. Really hard to put your finger on it. You almost wish they crashed and burned down the stretch in a more spectacular way. That way you could just kind of rage tweet your way through the offseason and wait for massive changes. But you're kind of stuck in this, I don't know how bad it is sort of situation, and what's needed and what there is there. But they're kind of, you're in that bad spot, guys. You're dead in the middle, right? Which is the last place you want to be in the world. Not really a serious contender. Even if you make it to the playoffs, you're not really expecting to do anything there, or just out and picking somewhere around 18, 19, 20 in the draft, and that sucks too.
It's tough.
So there you are. That's where they are. That's where we're at. And here we are with the season. Let's start with the game. Obviously, you have the emotional moment with the Hamlin thing. We could go around the horn and everyone can say how awesome it was, but we all know it was awesome. Let's get to the
classic
we can circle back. It was awesome, but also it's at that moment. Did you think, oh my God, this is going to be 100-0?
Well, it was an indictment. At first, it was like, okay, this is supernatural. This is outstanding, and it was. But then they do the same thing in the second half, and it's like, okay, maybe the special teams just sucks on this team, and that's exactly what they do. They've had the worst special team season I've ever seen under Bill Belichick. A team that continuously prides themselves on 3 phases of football, doing the little things right, winning in the margins, and then they let up 2 kick return touchdowns that basically seals the game because they lose by, 12. So,
yeah.
Look, if there's one thing that I can say, it's that I think Joe Judge still has a spot on this coaching staff, and it's on special teams because
maybe on kickoffs.
Mike, if you have a spot, you have a job on special teams.
Honestly, Joe Judge might kick off next year.
Right, but I mean, it's like Cam McCord. I mean, he's got to go, right? It was horrendous on special teams all season, and Joe Judge is here, and he might not have any other choice because they should reshuffle this offensive coaching staff. So, I mean, put Joe Judge on the special teams if you have.
I know, but it
was a train wreck again.
What are you going to get mad if the only reason those kickoffs were returned for touchdowns is because you've got because Jake Bailey didn't want to rehab or whatever the hell happened there.
Yeah, that's another story. Huh?
Of course,
right.
Coverage is one thing, that's fine. But literally, when 93% of kicks go into the end zone, you're really out of practice with that kind of stuff. I mean, but it's like just like the Patriots season, you got a noodle-armed quarterback and a noodle-legged kicker. Is that a thing? Can you have a noodle leg?
Noodle brain coaching staff.
Noodle brain. Everything's coming
it's
up.
The New England noodles. This is the New England noodles, man. This is
everything's coming up noodles here.
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah,
I mean, the special teams was obviously horrible today from the defensive side of things. It's been pretty bad all damn year. The special teams, I think, it's one of the worst coached special teams under Belichick history. It's. Am I getting muted here?
Accident. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, I see something wrong already? No, I just think it's been such a frustrating year for that special teams unit. We know about the punt return touchdown against the Jets, and that was nice. But overall, frustrating season. A lot of, I think mistakes, a lot of yards given up. And Belichick used to hang his hat on special teams. That used to be the thing that he used to say, you got to be strong in all 3 phases of the game. And of course, the major thing everyone's going to talk about, and rightfully so, is the offensive play calling this year, and that's the first thing they should address. But this game was lost because of the special teams today. I thought the Patriots outplayed the Bills in the first half. They should have been leading that game. I think everyone would agree there. And it was anybody's game in the second half, but you freaking give up that second kick return. I mean, that's unacceptable. I don't care what the reasons behind it are. You got one job on special teams if you're that unit. You're all going for the same guy, damn it, okay? Like, somebody get there. So that's one thing they're going to address. And then Cam McCord, he might not even take the team flight home. I'd be surprised if they let him on. Patricia's another story. I got to go back to this other play that I texted you about, John. 2nd and 20. You just got to you're getting close to scoring here and maybe putting a run for it. And Patricia calls a draw play. Okay, so you go from 2nd and 20, you're calling a draw play, you get a yard out of it, you got a 3rd and 19, and obviously everyone knows you got to go for the first. I don't think they needed to throw a home run pass there. It's 4-down territory at that point, anyways. But for whatever reason, again, whether it was play calling or not, Patricia or Mac throws an interception in the end zone. But Patricia kind of put him in that situation. So when everyone bitches and moans about Mac's demeanor out there, he's probably scratching his head as to why the F are we doing a draw play on 2nd and 20. Maybe they thought they could catch the Bills thinking that they were definitely going to throw it, but come on. I mean, that's the type of play call that loses you games. And in this case, that knocked you out of the season. So these are the things that fans are going to remember. And it's not just tonight. It's been all season long. We've been questioning the same things with this team. And this is going to hurt to say, but if you're a real Patriots fan, you kind of needed them to lose this game. If you want to see real change happen, you gotta almost have to deal with the consequences before
you kind of
change
needed
happens.
them to lose more games for it to be kind
You
of
did.
like.
But you definitely didn't need them to make the playoffs.
You wanted to burn this village in order to save it, I think, and a
Right.
more spectacular end to the year. But to their credit, they actually, a lot of times you thought they were down, they came back and surprised you.
I would agree.
Just as many times as they kind of gave stuff away. There's a few times where you thought both they turned the corner and then have them puke all over themselves, and other times where you're like, this ship's sinking right now, and that they kind of pulled it together. I didn't expect them to play as well as they played today, mistakes aside. Mike Kadlick is back. He was borrowing Josue Pavon's Wi-Fi, but he's good now. So he's here. So let's just break down this game, and this is really frustrating because, I mean, it really boils down to. There's two things I want to talk about for this game. One, the special teams breakdowns are what they are. Game boils down to basically three plays: the 2 kickoff returns, and then getting the Bills 2nd and 23, and then 3rd and 10, and allowing that 50-yard Diggs touchdown. I mean, those are 3 scores right there on 3 long ones where you're playing them basically
42-yard touchdown too.
Yeah, you're punch for punch pretty much from the line of scrimmage in terms of how you're playing them, and you give up those massive plays. Number 2 is this. Where you're stuck with this team and where people have been kind of just killing themselves all year. We want Mac to throw the ball. We want him to press it downfield. We want to take some risks. Oh my God, Mac has to be more careful with the ball. He can't throw jump balls to Nelson Aguilar like that. Look at those interceptions. There's the back and forth. What do you guys want to? What do you want to see? Because I always like this version of Mac, because I don't think you can go anywhere with the other one. And I don't think the Patriots offense was good enough to kind of 17 play their way down the field for touchdown drives, as was evidenced by just how they played all year. So you do want to see them put some pressure on the defense, and they did today. But then also it resulted in, some questionable decisions and some interceptions, which ultimately ended up killing them. Mm-hmm. So, Mike, what do you think?
I mean, the Nelson Aguilar play was just why. It's like, why are you throwing a jump ball? Why are you throwing a jump ball to Aguilar with Tre'Davious White on him too? It's like, why call the play? Why make the decision to throw it there? Could be a Mac Jones decision, right? But that could also be, for some reason, Patricia in his ear being like, look, let's throw it out here and see what we got for whatever reason.
Sure.
But it's almost like I want to dumb it down to something as simple as they have enough pieces on offense that it's got to be an offensive coaching staff change in the offseason because, like you said, Mac played okay today. I thought he played well for the circumstances he was put in. And as far as the jump ball to Aguilar, crazy play call, crazy decision. And, I mean, the throw to Hunter Henry that was ended up intercepted, they're at 3rd and 19, and you kind of have to take a shot anyway with the season on the line. So the interceptions today weren't Mac's fault. I thought he played okay. I still think he deserves another chance in this system with somebody else calling the shots on offense. I don't think it's let's run away from Mac Jones right now this instant, but things certainly need to change because, I mean, the entire season wasn't good enough. And you're right, that's really where it came down to on offense is just a couple bad plays that, really turned the entire game on its head.
So it's tough for me to say, like, whether or not Mac deserves another chance. And I think he probably ultimately will get one.
Yeah.
It just sucks because they went all year with this, like, Fugazi coaching staff that, like, nobody knew what the hell was going on. It seemed like a lot of times the players didn't know what was going on, whether it was something you heard from Bourne, whether it was the stuff about Mac. It didn't seem like anybody trusted from the top down what was coming their way. And there was certainly, it looked like there to be, and I'm not in the locker room, so I can't really say for sure, but I felt like there was some level of a disconnect between the players and coaches this year, whether that was, all internal, or whether that was what they were hearing from outside media and blah, 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 and it was getting to their head. For whatever the reason, it just felt like they weren't a cohesive from coaching staff to players. So, and it showed on the field. It really did. I mean, and as far as the offensive talent goes, Mike, maybe you're seeing something that I'm not. I don't see many talented players at all in this offense.
Right.
I mean, I feel like everybody is very extremely replaceable
If
from the
you
quarterback.
change them all out, would anybody care? Is there anybody at home would be like, I can't believe you got rid of our entire offense? And
No.
I'm talking 5 new offensive linemen and entirely new skill position players. Would anybody blink? Could you do worse? Could
It might
you
actually happen. I mean, they're not
No,
gonna-
when I push back on that because they're gonna get rid of Jacoby Myers and it's gonna be a mistake.
Myers
and
is
then Kendrick
what?
Bourne,
It would be a mistake if they don't sign another wide receiver and they have to throw a cornerback at the position.
Jacoby Myers is supposed to be your number 3 option. The problem with this team
number
is he's been
3,
there.
no, a number 2, I'll give you number
Says
2.
who?
Number 3.
Jalen
He's a
Waddle
great-
is a number 2. Like,
Yeah,
what
you
are we
can-
talking? The good
Jacoby-
teams out here, the good offenses, Chiefs aside, because Mahomes is a freak of nature, their number 2s and their 3s are dynamic guys who can beat you in a lot of different ways, not possession receivers. It's totally different. Like, he's
Okay,
a nice...
Miami's a different beast with a number 2. You can't. Jalen Waddle's a number 1 across the league, though. He's a number 2.
that- no,
I
that's
understand,
unfair,
but
Jordan. That's
most
unfair,
teams have
but-
have way more weapons than where Jacoby Myers would be considered a number 2 on their team. He's a nice security blanket guy who will get you some possession stuff. They're not even close in terms
you
of
could name
dynamic
50 wide
playmakers.
receivers probably easily. I mean, if you gave me a list, Jacoby Myers is probably not in the top 50.
Right? Is he? You're right.
So there you go.
Yeah, 50's a stretch. That's a lot of. He's good, guys.
You
He's
see
good.
our
He can
point,
play the
though.
game and Matt
Our
trusts
point is
him.
this-
I do see your point, but I also would like to see a guy like Kendrick Bourne given an actual opportunity to play football this season, and you could see what he could bring because whenever they gave him the chance to make a play, he did. He
Let
was
me
like
ask
in
you
the
this.
doghouse with,
So why didn't they?
Well, here's the risk, though. Here's the risk of what you guys are talking about, what Jimmy mentioned. I'll put it back to you guys with this question. Let's say everyone points to, this is almost kind of two-pronged question. Everyone points to coaching. They didn't give him a chance, blah, 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 blah. I think everyone agrees. They bring in new personnel. Maybe. That's not even a guarantee. But let's just say that they do. The two questions is, one, why in the F did you think what you did last year was going to work in the first place? Throwing away a year like this of development is a fireable sin in most circles to make such egregious decisions that were so out of line with what most people thought would have been conventional thinking. But number 2, what happens if you replace all the coaching staff? Your savior, Bill O'Brien, walks through that door, and he's here. And then you have a really mediocre offense with the same mediocre people, and you're like, uh-oh, it was both. Because, I don't want to say it's one thing. You should always be looking to get better at everything, even if you are already good. I'm not looking at this group of players and saying, yeah, run it back, just new coaches, we should be good. I don't think that that's something that you can do.
No, they certainly need to make changes, especially like you
Didn't
said.
they
at the
just run it
beginning.
back?
Across the offense. What's that?
They just kind of did run it back on offense.
Yeah, they
and
got they got
they're worse.
Devontae Parker, who they
who I
thought
actually
was
like.
big.
I actually like Devontae Parker.
He made some plays today. He had come off a concussion, so he hadn't played the last few weeks. Today was his best game probably as a Patriot. But again, you need to make
Some big
changes on the
catches.
offensive line. You maybe go and get another wide receiver. The tight end situation has ended up being a disaster because you sign these guys, Henry and Jonnu Smith, right? And two of the top tight ends in the league at the time of signing, and they've just been a train wreck here. And whether that's because they were poorly sought after as far as they're not actually that good at the position or they're just not being coached up right, that kind of remains to be seen because it hasn't really been there at all for them. But that's another position where you might have to go back, whether it's through the draft or whether it's free agency, but that's a position you've basically thrown away now too. So, no, it's not only coaching. They definitely need to make changes with personnel, but I don't think they're that far away personnel-wise.
On the defense, the reason that they're even in playoff contention is because of their defense.
Oh,
Their
100%.
offense from Mac on down they're dragging their offense behind them. It's just like a ball and chain situation right now.
Right.
So they have huge undertaking this offseason, and I don't know where they're going to start. If they want to bring Bill O'Brien back, that's probably most likely because at this point in Belichick's career, feels like he doesn't really even trust anybody other than the people that has been in his circle for the last 20 years.
Right.
So I don't expect this new hotshot offensive lineman with all these new ideas to come in and turn the offense upside down. So I don't think anybody would be surprised. The rumors are already out there that it's going to happen. You can probably move Patricia to another, title that isn't going to feel like he was relieved
Put
of
him
his
upstairs.
duties.
Yeah.
Exactly, right, and on we can go with the semantics of it all. But the bottom line is, and Belichick always says it, the players are the ones who go out there and play the game. So yeah, it's going to come down to what type of a talent. What kind of talent can they put on the field? And Belichick's responsible for that too, because he's had complete control over this roster for years.